Hello, and hope you're all well. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this Off the Record event where we're going to be focusing on BBC Introducing and everything you need to know. I'm Arusa Qureshi. I'm a writer and editor based in Edinburgh with a particular focus in music, diversity and accessibility in arts and culture. I'm also on the board of the Scottish Music Centre and in the Scottish Music Industry Association's advisory group. Now, if you haven't heard the news, there's a new show in town. Every Friday night, Phoebe I-H and Shereen Cutkelvin present BBC Introducing in Scotland, and it's all about bringing you the best in unsigned, undiscovered, and under-the-radar music the nation has to offer. If you fit into one of those categories, which I'm sure many of you will, this show will be of great interest to you. And today, I'm going to be speaking to Phoebe and Shereen to find out more about their careers, about BBC Introducing, and how to get on the show. So without further ado, a huge welcome to Phoebe and Shereen, and thank you both so much for joining me. How are you doing?
Hi, Arusa. It's good to see you. Thanks for having us.
No, thank you so much.
I know, thanks so much.
So for people that are unfamiliar and don't know what BBC Introducing is, do you think you could just give me a wee roundup of, what it is and what its main purpose is? Maybe start with Phoebe.
Yeah, it's to bring you your new favourite band or artist from Scotland. So we play music that's exclusively being made in Scotland. So we want to give you the next person that you are addicted to the music of. We want to make you run away to whatever digital streaming platform you listen to and go and look up this artist and be like, oh my goodness, I want to tell everyone about this person that's coming out of Scotland.
Shereen, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, kind of covered it, just like shining light on, all of Scotland's artists. We're looking for that next person that's going to be this huge thing and kind of show them on our platform, really. And it's really exciting for both Phoebe and I. Like, we get to come on every Friday and do that and shine a light in Glasgow, Edinburgh, Aberdeen, everywhere, all in Scotland. And then actually getting to speak to some of the artists personally on Instagram and seeing how much it means to them as well is just amazing.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone in music was in Scotland especially has been really, really thrilled about the arrival of this show, because especially with things being quite, up in the air and a bit perilous across the industry, it's so great to have this show at this point in time. So, how did you come to be involved with the show to begin with, and why did you want to be involved with BBC Introducing?
We've got two kind of completely different stories, actually, don't we, Phoebe? For me, it was a bit crazy. It was actually a slide in my DMs had a message come through about the opportunity, and I was like, I mean, hell yeah, that sounds dope. So I went through to the BBC studios, met everybody, done some voice tests, and I was lucky enough to get the position. And being in music from since I was so young, this was something that was amazing for me. And it's funny, actually, I used to be quite self-conscious about speaking, so now landing a job as a presenter has really kind of helped me with that as well. And as an artist as well, I can actually be able to shine light on artists, and I know what it's like trying to get radio play and trying to do these things. It's hard. So the fact that we've landed this job, and I know you touched on it there, in such a difficult time, we've got this brand new show coming out. It's almost just like this big golden light kind of thing for me. Yeah, so it's really amazing. I'm excited for the rest of the shows that we've got coming out.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled that you're on the presenting team. And you make a great team. And Phoebe, what about you? Why did you want to get involved in the first place?
So BBC Introducing for me has always been kind of the ultimate goal. I started on the radio when I was 15, 16. I'm from the Scottish borders, and there was absolutely nothing to do there when you were growing up. So some of my friends set up a little radio station, and they asked me to be a presenter because they liked my music taste. And so since then, since I was 15 and I did that first show, I was like, oh, two things that I'm really good at, music and talking. Now I can bring the two of them together. And by that point, BBC Introducing was kind of on the go on the BBC. I was still quite young, so I was only hearing about it. As I moved to Glasgow, I realised that there was a BBC Introducing show, and it was actually at that time presented by somebody Scottish. His name was Ali McRae. And then I was on my student radio station. I went to Glasgow Caledonian Uni, and it was on there when I had my own little show that one of the producers from Radio 1 actually got in touch with me and headhunted me to be Ali McRae's understudy on the original BBC Introducing show. So since then, since I was 19 and that happened, I've kind of been waiting in the wings for a BBC Introducing show in Scotland to finally come along, and now here we are.
That's so cool. I love that you're like kind of there, ready to go from the beginning.
I have been waiting right in the corner.
No, it's great, and I think you both seem like just a great team to be on this show in particular, and you're both so passionate, which is brilliant. So for musicians who are wanting to feature on the show, what advice would you give them? What's the best way to get your attention?
So we've got the BBC Uploader, where I'd say that's majority of things that we play on the radio. That's where we get the music. That's our main kind of hub, if you like to call it. And you get to upload 2 tracks a month. So just keep uploading, would be my advice. And also, like, you've got a profile picture, and make it catchy, so it's something that we're drawn to. Obviously, make sure the music's great quality, the sound is produced well, mix and master is done well, because we're really looking for songs that we can play and people want to love it right away, and they want to go and see your Instagram or your Facebook and kind of follow you up as an artist. But yeah, we kind of get the main hub from the BBC Introducing Uploader, but also through like social media and stuff like that as well.
Phoebe, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I'm with Shereen about the making sure that your music is obviously as top notch as you can make it, but to kind of challenge something that she said, although mixing and mastering obviously is really important, it is also really important to note that not everyone has got a massive budget, and that sometimes there are demos that come into BBC Introducing, and sometimes if you can really see the music quality and everything is on top, then there's no reason why we wouldn't play it just because it's a demo. So yeah, it is really important to try your best to make the music obviously the best quality that you can, but if it's good and you're not made of money, then you can still feel free to send it in, because we will listen to it, and if it's good, we will appreciate it and we will play it.
That's really good to hear, and like really encouraging, because I'm sure there's many people listening who are worried about that exact thing. So yeah, thanks for letting people know about that. In terms of the show's been on for just a little while now, but has there been anyone in particular that's really caught your attention that has uploaded music through the uploader that you're still listening to today?
Really quite a few people, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like each week or every day, like, we actually look through the uploader, you always see someone that catches your eye. And what I quite like to do is go on from that. And when you make a profile, you get to put, tag in all your social media handles. And I quite like to go on, see how active they are, see what they're doing, like, and just kind of look at the artists as well. But there was an artist we played at a show 2 weeks ago from Vic Galloway called a band. And yeah, they're great. I love the whole sound of them. Tommy McGuire's good as well. Our first ever live session was Nova Scotia The Truth. And she just won the SAY Award Album of the Year as well. So that was amazing that we got to showcase her on the show as well. But yeah, there's loads of artists. Like, you kind of find artists daily, which is what I really love about it.
For me, there's been 2 girls who have really, really stood out, and we actually chose them as our track of the week back to back. One's called Daisy Miles, and Daisy just released the song that we chose as track of the week in conjunction with it being chosen as track of the week. She hadn't actually released any music, and we kind of gave her a poke, and then it had all come out together. So I am really excited to see where she goes. She's with a label who are really cool called Almost Ghosts, and their whole roster's just like... and then there's also a lady called Cleopatra, and like Shereen was saying, it's really interesting when you see a full artist spectrum, as in they've made the whole visual package to go along with their music. And the thing about Cleopatra is she's got this whole AI robot style of thing going on, and when you look at all of her other media, you can see that it's all so well tied together. And yeah, those 2 are really, really giving me some chills and excitement.
Yeah, totally. And I've definitely discovered some new music from listening to the show, and it's just such a great way to hear all the amazing talent that is around Scotland at the moment. But hopefully it does encourage people as well to upload their tracks, because you can get on the radio, and Shereen and Phoebe will say lovely things about you, hopefully. So I'm just going to go back to talking a little bit more about the 2 of you, and I wondered if you could just tell me more about your kind of career prior to BBC Introducing and how you started in music, and how you got to where you are now. So maybe start with Phoebe.
Sure. So I kind of touched on it a wee bit about earlier when I was mentioning about being on the radio since I was 15, and then I came to uni and I was on the student station, and I got headhunted by Radio 1, and it was kind of me waiting for someone, be it on BBC Scotland or Radio 1, to give me a show. So I was really close with some BBC producers who were encouraging me to try out for lots of different roles. And a couple of times, maybe 2 or 3 times, it got down to being between me and one other person for roles on Radio 1. So I was always super close and right on the edge, and it just never kind of came off. And so after a few rounds of this, my confidence was a bit knocked and I was kind of tired. I really wanted to get there. And producers and friends said, well, why don't you go and throw all your energy into something else? And then by the time that the next opportunity comes around, they'll be able to see that your music knowledge is even more. And so I threw all of my energy into DJing. I'd already done quite a few stints in other radio stations. I'd been interning and working at Capital and Amazing Radio and things like that whilst I'd been doing my studies at the same time. I studied journalism because I was always good at writing, and B, it taught me a lot about radio as well. So I had a kind of legitimate way to make my passion my career as well. And so I sacked in all of the jobs that I'd been doing since I graduated, which were all related to journalism and PR and marketing, and focused solely on music. So I made my DJing my full-time job, which I've been doing now before Corona came for 3 years. So I was focused completely on DJing, working for a record label, and doing as much radio as I could on whatever platform would have me. And that worked out really well for me. Working at a record label is just so exhilarating, and DJing has taken me further around the world than anyone from a tiny town in the Scottish borders could ever have expected. And after that, then it seemed to all be the winning combination to get this job on BBC Introducing, which is amazing.
That's very cool. And it sounds like you were kind of open to lots of different experiences, which allowed you to then, kind of progress through your career. Would you say that that's like a good tip for people that are starting out, to just be open to as much as they can?
Completely. I must admit, when I first started in radio has always been my biggest passion. That's always what I've wanted my main career to be, and I've worked so hard to make sure that is that. But whilst I was kind of rising up the ranks, and the few times that I was kind of hoping I would get onto Radio 1, for example, and it didn't work out, when that first happened, that was like life or death for me. I was absolutely devastated. And it took quite a while for my brain to kind of reassess and reevaluate and think, oh no, actually, if you do this, this, and this, then you're not going in the wrong direction away from radio. You're just climbing the steps, but maybe the steps are a little bit further around the corner than you first thought they were going to be. It's all going to link together if you make it. You're never going to go in the wrong direction if you think that it's going to help in some way. It's just allowing yourself to see that doing this thing, which might not seem related, will actually all come together as long as you make it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. And then I guess, especially this year, it feels like for a lot of people, nothing has really gone to plan. So it's really good to think in that kind of way, and just, know that there's lots of different ways to get to where you want to be in the end.
Exactly.
And Shereen, do you have anything to add there? And can you tell us a bit more about your start in music?
Yeah, so I've been brought up with music in my family since I was born. So I've always had music coursing through my veins. And I think the first time I realized I wanted to be in the music industry must have been about eight years old or something like that. And I used to sneak into my dad's rehearsal rooms and practice singing and harmonizing and all that. And I've been in like various bands over the years. I had my first ever band when I was 14 and went for auditions down south, in Scotland, everywhere, and it was constantly no. And a bit like Phoebe, it can be disheartening, and it can like take a knock at your confidence as well. But the important thing to do is just to keep going at it. If you've got your vision and what you want to do in life, you might not know how you're going to get there, but just keep thriving, keep pushing forward, and get up every morning and try and do something to get further in your career. So I went from being a band to another band. We got signed to Sony Records. At 16, I was in a band called Neon Jungle, and I've you know what's really good about like being a presenter now is because I've kind of got like a relatable thing, I feel, because I've got an artist. I'm an artist myself, and I've been signed, and I'm independent now, so I've seen both of the sides. I've seen how hard it is to get radio play. I've seen how hard it is to be noticed by people, which is amazing that I'm now, with Phoebe and being able to shine the light on people like that. So yeah, I was signed, moved down to London, and then I moved back home to Scotland in 1920. I'm 23 now, although I've got grey hairs, I'm feeling older. But yeah, I was in, I'd done quite a lot of different stuff like that, and I'm in a band now with my brothers. And, we're still trying to make it, we're still grinding each day to be better, be the best version of ourselves, and to get our music seen by the world. And I can really relate to all the artists out there that are trying to do that as well. And I feel like Scotland has so many artists that nobody knows about. And I was so surprised coming to BBC and coming and seeing all these different artists. I'm like, wow, how have I never heard of you before? And yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. And each day I'm still trying to work to reach goals. And for anybody listening, and I feel like write down what it is you want to do in your life. And those goalposts might change gradually, as they have with me. I've had never ever before, like I've been on radio before, but I'd never done presenting. I'd been on radio, like getting interviewed, and it's like a completely different ballgame, because when you're presenting, you're obviously kind of carrying the show, and you've got to, steer the show in different directions. So this is completely new to me. And yeah, I'm loving it as well. So that's kind of how I got my first steps into the music industry.
Yeah, it's great to hear about, how you started out in music, and it's obviously different to Phoebe's journey, but also there's some similarities there. But I can totally understand now why the two of you work so well on the radio, because you've got those two different perspectives of being involved in as performers, but also being presenters and being on the radio. So we've talked about how you can get on the show if you're a musician. If you're somebody that's interested in presenting and DJing, what advice would you have for people listening, and what's the best way to get your start there?
See, why you go, Phoebe?
So one of the things that I think is really, really invaluable information is also one of the things that people struggle with the most, and that is to put yourself out there. So when I first started to get onto the radio or try and do things on the radio, I was messaging anyone and everyone about internships, work experience, opportunities, tips, advice, whatever. And loads of the time you get no's, loads and loads and loads of the time you get no's, but you just have to keep going, because you will also get people who are like, yeah, sure, I'd love to teach you these things. But telling humans to do that, to put themselves out there and face that fear of getting rejected, it's your own head that's the thing that stops you from that the most. Once you've conquered that and you're not in fear anymore of contacting people and asking for opportunities or assistance, then things start to go your way. But that is often the biggest battle that we have to fight within ourselves first. So first of all, don't be afraid to ask for help and put yourself out there. And second of all, always know that you can do something to improve your craft. So if you're a presenter, the thing that people hate the most, but the thing that's going to work best for you is listening back to your own voice. People hate doing that. People hate listening to their voices. But if you listen back, you'll know exactly what words you say too many of, what sentences you repeat, what adjectives you reach for the most often, all of these things which in a radio show, the listener will start to notice. So be critical of yourself, but also don't be afraid to push yourself into opportunities.
Thanks, that's awesome advice, Phoebe. And Shereen, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with what Phoebe said. That's one of the things I was going to mention about making yourself seen. And that can be through social media, it can be through school, college, work, whatever it is, getting the word out there. And, it is easier to say, don't be scared, just do it. I completely agree with what you're saying, Phoebe. But, if you want something, you need to go out and get it, because sometimes waiting and just thinking, It'll come. You need to get the ball rolling. As soon as you start getting the ball rolling, things will start coming in. It's amazing, the way the universe works actually. And also practice your craft, and that can go with any profession that you want to be doing. Practice your craft, research, and what Phoebe says, be critical of yourself. It's quite good to be harsh, because then you're always going to want to do better, and you're always going to push to be better. And also, like, asking people, like your family's always going to be brutally honest. I know what my family is like. See if I've got a song out, and my mum, she'll be like, no, it's rubbish, get back to the studio, do it again. Like, get somebody that's going to be brutally honest about it, and listen back, and just keep practicing. Practice makes perfect at the end of the day. But also,
sorry, Shereen. One thing that I think that we can both vouch for as well is, I'm really sorry to say this because I know it's quite cheesy, but don't give up. Shereen was in a band at 16, and Neon Jungle platinum selling albums, amazing, but didn't necessarily end the way that you wanted it to. Me trying to get onto the radio since I was a kid didn't necessarily end the way that it wanted it to. Those are both two massive things that we easily could have just been like, right, well, that was really sad, and we just want to go and hide away from it now. And neither of us did. And literally years later, then we get to somewhere that we both want to be. It would be so easy to just fall down and go, I'm knackered by this now. But if you do that, then you don't get there. It's taken me 10 years to get this job on the radio. You can't give up on yourself. And it's that unshakable belief in yourself that the hard work will pay off, which is the thing that will carry you through.
Yeah, no, completely agree with that. Like, and as well, I was going to say, like, also allow yourself time to grow within it. As Phoebe was saying, there's so many times that we could have just given up. And I could name you countless times. I've got a list of amount of times that I could have just crawled in a corner, cried, and you know what, I'm going to do something else. But at the end of the day, if that's what you love, that's what you want to do, go for it and give your all, because life's too short. And just go for it.
Yeah, it's just such good advice from both of you, and I totally agree. And especially this year, it's been for a lot of people very, very tricky. A lot of people have lost their jobs. I was one of those people that lost a job, and it is hard to keep going when you face that. And also, if you're applying for jobs constantly, not getting them, not even getting interviews. A lot of people are going through that right now. In terms of just kind of dealing with that in a mental health perspective, do you have any advice for people that are facing those kind of hurdles and rejections constantly?
I do. And as much as, again, it might sound cheesy, it's surrounding yourself with the people who are going to continue putting that unshakable faith within you, because it is simply untrue to say that at all times you will feel confident in yourself and you will feel able to keep picking yourself back up from rejection or disappointment. That is just simply not true. But surrounding yourself with the people who can see the same vision that you have, and not just see it as in like, I love my mum, and Shereen, I know you love your mum, but it's different when you find people who are in the same position as you and truly understand what you're going through, and being able to communicate with them about where you're at and share those experiences really helps you lift yourself out of that. But also, I like to keep a little log of all the things that I have done. And then when I'm feeling bad, I can just bring it back out. And even if whether it's something absolutely massive or something absolutely tiny, you can just bring out this log that's related to your end goal and be like, oh, well, I think I'm getting nowhere, but actually I've done this, and this. And then you can be like, oh, well, all right, I am getting there. And that helps a lot.
That's really lovely. I like that idea. I haven't been doing that, but I think I might start just writing those things down. Shereen, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I feel like for each person, it's different, and it's an own kind of. I'm quite spiritual, so I feel like it's a spiritual journey that each and every person has to kind of take themselves. So for me, when I'm at like my lowest in times and things are not going well, I always pray anyway, but like pray and put out. I've got a mood board. of things that I want. And even if it's just notes on your phone, like things that you want to do in your life, things that you need, and I put them down in words, recite saying them, keep visualizing. For me, visualization is just, it's crazy. Honestly, if you visualize something, and you know, it might not come tomorrow, but keep visualizing it, keep saying it, keep putting it into a routine, and it will come. Like, I'm a really big believer of putting out the right vibrations into the universe, and that will all come back to you. Like, just quickly, what that happened to me, you know, when it's happened to me many times in life actually, but one of the big ones for me was, I remember when I was like 12, 13, 14, praying every single night, I want to be on stage, I want to be in arena in front of thousands of people. And I could see it, physically see it in my mind. And I'd been there, I'd already been performing in my mind. And I remember there was one moment when I was on stage with Neon Jungle actually. And I was brought to tears on stage because I was in this arena, and I thought to myself, this is what I've been seeing in my mind. So like, if it's that job that you want, you know, if it could be anything, like it could be anything in the world, whatever it is that you feel like you're needing, you know, to fulfill that in your life, put it out. I'm a huge believer in vibrations and like what Phoebe said as well, and just writing stuff down, even printing things off the internet and visualizing it so it's up on your wall and you're seeing it every single day and you're putting it out to the universe. Eventually it will come.
Yeah. Even just telling yourself that you are that thing, you know, I am a radio presenter, I am a superstar singer, I already perform at stadiums, I already have a show on whatever station. Those people just don't know it yet. That's what works for me.
It's true.
No, you're both totally right. It's, you know, putting positive vibes into the universe. That's what we all should be doing right now, generally. So just we're going to be running out of time soon. So I just wanted to ask one last thing, which, it's, again, asking for your advice, because you're obviously both very knowledgeable in this area. At the moment, people obviously can't go to gigs and they can't maybe go to networking events as you traditionally would if you're starting out in the industry. So for those people who are just wanting to get their foot in the door, what is the best way right now when you can't physically go somewhere or physically go and see a show?
To get your foot in the door with, sorry, can you clarify?
Yeah, just getting your foot in the door in the music industry in general.
As in rather than from a musician's perspective, from a professional perspective. So emails are your friend, but A, don't bombard people, and B, make it super duper clear. So if you can imagine that you're the editor of a magazine, for example, and you're getting loads of people trying to write content for you and you're getting emails every day. If they've then sent an essay in that email, you're realistically just going to skim it, aren't you? Get a link tree. Link tree is your friend. Link tree, you can click on it. You can see the most important things you want to share right in front of you. Make it super simple. Make it basic. Make it so that your 87-year-old granddad who's never used a mobile phone before can see and understand everything that you want to say. Make it concise, because realistically, that's how people are actually going to pay attention when they're so busy doing many other things.
Yeah, totally. And Shereen, from a musician's perspective, what's the best way to, you know, get the word out there? Obviously, social media is great, but if you can't physically go and see people, is that the best way?
Yeah, I would say social media is huge. Like, so much so, even realizing it, you know, now, particularly in this time that we're in, like, social media is massive, and I feel like we can all use it to more of our abilities. Like, even if it's just messaging people to collaborate, to do Instagram lives with, and just constantly get your face out there. And I know it's a hard thing, especially people that have confidence issues. I was one of those people as well. I was the shyest kid in the school, never used to speak to anybody, and you know, here I am. And I feel like just use it to your best of your ability. Create contacts. If you don't have contacts, message people. All they're going to say is no. The worst they can say is no. And at the end of the day, there's a million other people out there as well. So you've just got to keep at it and be persistent, but also have patience with it too. And YouTube is a great thing as well. That's actually how I first originally got found on YouTube. My mum wouldn't let me out at the weekend until I'd posted my weekly YouTube video. Thanks, Mum, because it got me to where I am today. But yeah, I think social media as a whole is such an amazing thing. You know, the amount of things that you can do, and also sending, you know, if you have a song out or if you have a new video up, send it to people, your contacts, ask your family and your friends to share it. And again, the worst that they can say is no.
Yeah, I like that. And I think that's such a good point because, yeah, like you said, the worst they could say is no. It's just all about trying, getting in touch with people. And I found, from my perspective in the journalism world, 9 times out of 10, people will be willing to help you out and be willing to chat to you. So it's definitely worth trying.
Yeah, you got to put yourself out there.
Yeah. So that's actually all we have time for. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Phoebe and Shereen for joining me today and for sharing and offering their advice. You're both great at what you do, so it's great to hear from you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arusa. It was lovely to talk to you.
Yeah, no worries.